No. God spoke to Abraham and said, "Leave your land and your family and go to the place that I will show you." With faith, Abraham obeyed and began preparing for his trip with his wife Sarah. At dawn, Abraham said goodbye to his home. His heart was full of confidence in the promise of God. He didn't know exactly where he was going, but he trusted God to guide him step by step. Day after day they traveled under the sun, following the path that God marked for them. When they arrived in Canaan, God told him, "This land will be for your descendants." Then Abraham built an altar to thank the Lord for his goodness. And so began Abraham's great adventure of faith, guided by the promise of God. Patiently, Abraham continued his journey through the land of Canaan, always trusting in God. There he met new people and shared with them his faith in the one true God. Every night, Abraham looked at the stars and remembered the promise God had made to him. A time of famine came and the land became dry. So Abraham decided to travel to Egypt to find food and shelter. Egypt was a different land, full of life, but Abraham had to be cautious. Abraham prayed to God to protect them in this new land. And God took care of Abraham and his family as he had always promised. After a time, Abraham returned to Canaan, the place God had shown him. Their family grew so much that they had to decide how to divide the land. Abraham let Lot choose first because he trusted in God's goodness. Lot chose the greenest and most fertile lands, while Abraham stayed in Canaan. God said to Abraham, "All this land will be yours and your children." Abraham walked the earth with joy, remembering the divine promise. Once again, Abraham set up an altar to give thanks to God. And under the starry sky, Abraham felt the peace of God's love. Abraham thought about the promise that God had made to him and looked at maps under a beautiful tree. God told him, "Your descendants will be as many as the stars in the sky." Abraham raised his eyes, marveling at that beautiful promise. To thank God, Abraham built an altar filled with love and gratitude. The altar glowed softly, reminding him of God's faithfulness. God blessed the land where Abraham lived, making it fertile and beautiful. Abraham and Sarah walked happily, trusting in what God would do. God continued to guide them, reminding them that His promise would always be fulfilled. Abraham and Lot had so many animals and helpers that the land was no longer enough for everyone. The shepherds began to have problems and Abraham wanted peace between everyone. Abraham said to Lot, "I don't want us to argue. You first choose the land you want." Lot saw beautiful, green plains and decided to stay there. With joy, Lot left for the lands he had chosen. Abraham did not worry. He trusted that God had a plan for him. Then God said to him, "All the land you see will be yours and your children." Abraham walked throughout the land, grateful for the promise God had made to him. One day, some evil kings attacked the city where Lot lived and took him away. Abraham heard the news and decided to go rescue him, without hesitation. He gathered his brave men and they left at night, guided by God. With intelligence and courage, Abraham surprised his enemies. Abraham found Lot safe and sound and embraced him with joy. They all returned together, happy to be reunited again. A king named Melchizedek blessed Abram for his courage and faith. Abraham raised his hands and thanked God for protecting them. Abraham wondered how God would keep his promise if he still had no children. Then God spoke and filled his heart with peace. God said to him, "So will your descendants be, countless as the stars." Abraham believed in God and he did that right before him. God asked Abraham to prepare a sacrifice to seal the covenant. A darkness fell over the land and Abraham felt the presence of God. A heavenly fire passed between the offerings, a sign of the divine alliance. Abraham understood that God would fulfill each of his promises. God reminded Abraham that he would have a son of his own. Sarah listened, and although it seemed impossible, her heart was filled with hope. Abraham felt a deep peace. God will fulfill what he has said. A soft light enveloped them as a sign of God's care. Every star in the sky reminded him of the divine promise. Sarah began to believe that God could do something wonderful. Abraham and Sarah waited with faith, trusting in God's timing. God was with them, preparing the miracle that would transform their lives.